श्रुति स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। मोहिनी जी, okay. Let us chant from 64. रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु
रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
प्रसादमधिगच्छति
प्रसादमधिगच्छति
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां
हानिरस्योपजायते
हानिरस्योपजायते
प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु
प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु
बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते
बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते
नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य
नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न चाभावयतः शान्तिः
न चाभावयतः शान्तिः
अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
So today we'll be doing the next shloka. Indriyanam hi
Indriyanam hi
charatam
charatam
yanmanaha
yanmanaha
anuvidhiyate
anuvidhiyate
tadasya harati
tadasya harati
prajñam
prajñam
vayurnavam
vayurnavam
ivambhasi
ivambhasi
indriyanam hi charatam
indriyanam hi charatam
yanmanonuvidhiyate
yanmanonuvidhiyate
tadasya harati prajñam
tadasya harati prajñam
vayurnavamivambhasi
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 vayurnama
navam
vayurnavamivambhasi
vayurnavamivambhasi.
vayurnavamivambhasi.
Good. So last couple of shlokas, the emphasis was on prasada, different kind of prasada. Prasada meaning tranquility, cheerfulness, and absence of agitation, a mind that can enjoy that. That has been the emphasis of Sri Krishna. And so the last shloka he said, Nasti buddhihi ayuktasya. For a person who cannot have a mastery over his or her senses and the mind. So important. Constantly Krishna talks about this. Then that person, nasti buddhihi. Buddhihi nasti. This knowledge is not going to be easy for that person. So therefore, you can see there is a claim that these Brahmins have kept this knowledge a secret. This narratives, history books have a very, very funny way of saying things, harsh way of saying things. The Brahmins have kept the knowledge away. Where is the question of keeping the knowledge away? Aham Brahmasmi, it is all there. E is equal to MC square is there. Now it is up to you to figure it out. Where is the question of keeping it out? So that's what Ascharyavat Pashyati. We saw that earlier, right? So even after everything is told, still there is somebody who is unable to figure out. So here Krishna gives the reason for that. He says that one has to be in control of oneself. Then this knowledge becomes more and more meaningful. This subject becomes very meaningful. Okay. So having said that, here Krishna is giving a beautiful metaphor, a nice example he gives that we can all relate to describe that, or to demonstrate the importance of this mastery, self-mastery. Okay. So the wandering sense organs. So that is being talked about here. Look at that. Indriyanam hi charatam yan manaha anuvidhiyate. Talking about this charatam. Indriyanam charatam. So the indriyas, of course, sense organs. Okay. And then charata. So moving, wandering sense organs. It's talking about. And char. The dhatu is char, of course. Char, I think it's not totally new to us. So it comes in things like nishachara. Nishachara means what? Nisha is night. Chara means moving. That which moves in the night is called nishachara. So Nishachara can mean what? It can mean a bat. Nocturnal animal ityartha, right? Nocturnal. Or Nishachara can be Pishacha also. Ghosts are going around, Ghosts like to go around in the night, I think. That's what they say. So Nishachara and Guptachara, one who moves about secretly, a spy. Spy is called Guptachara. Like that. That chara means to move. Sancharati, like that we sometimes you get those kinds of verbs. Okay. So these sense organs have this habit of moving around. So what is the latest movie? What is the latest movie? If somebody is asking, means what? Because we've seen all the great movies, all the hit movies. Now what is the next? It's been a while since we saw a movie. So that is how the mind goes. And latest album, somebody comes and says, this is the latest album of A.R. Rahman. Okay, previously in Tamil Nadu it was Ilayaraja. Then Ilayaraja is gone. Then it became A.R. Rahman. And I'm not in touch with this right now. So I don't know who the latest sensation is. There has to be a latest sensation, something to talk about when we meet each other, Otherwise, what to talk about? So your child is going to college, my child has gone to college, they've all gone to college. Now what else is there to do? We need to see movies. So like this mind is constantly wandering around. So new age music. They used to say new age music 30 years ago. Now I don't know what phrase they have to invent a new phrase now. New age was 30 years ago. So now what it is, I don't know, newer age music or what. I don't know what they are going to call it. So these people are very smart. Marketing people are very smart. They will figure out something. And so there is always current age music will be there, which is very different than the past. So then we can say, oh, this is fantastic. So this is the Charatan Indriyana, constantly looking for something new. Constantly. And so Yan Manaha. So what about these moving sense organs? That mind, Yat Manaha Anuvidhiyate, follows. That mind which follows these moving sense organs. Okay, let the sense organs move around. So what? What about the mind? What are you doing sitting behind? Do you have any? Do you think about these things or not? So yan manaha anuvidhiyate. That mind which keeps going along with these sense organs. So there are 2-3 words, right? Yan manaha is yat manaha for Sanskrit students. 2 words there, yat and manaha. Why yat? Yat is neuter gender. Because manaha is neuter gender. Even though it appears like manaha, ramaha, etc., manaha is neuter, manas, pratipadikam. Therefore, yat manaha. Yat manaha becomes yan manaha due to sandhi rules. Some rules of euphonic combination. Yat manaha. Panini gives a rule for this. Panini, the first grammarian we've ever had, Panini. He said, Yaro no nasikein no nasikova. Like that, he gives a rule. Amazing. Panini is just we have to hope some of you can study Panini at some time. I hope you all have heard about Panini. And I've been mentioning Panini as though everybody knows about him. We don't know. We don't know our own rishis sometimes. I never knew about him. When I studied in college, I came out, I knew about all the Robert Clive and this and all these people. Panini and all I never heard of. So there'll be a time to talk about that. So he says, and then he basically forms rules, like you all program. He forms rules which can be programmed to produce this language from the basics. And the basic dhatus, the entire language can be developed. That's how it is. So just a fascinating creation of the human mind. So yan manaha anuvidhiyate. That mind which follows this wandering sense organs, what does it do? What happens? Then this tad, next line, second line, tad manaha, Tad means that. That means what? That mind. Asya. Asya means this person, this Purushasya. Prajnam. The knowledge of that person. What does it do to the knowledge of that person? Harati. Steals. Harati. Steals. Steals the knowledge of this person. What an interesting way to say that. And so even though that person may be interested in Bhagavad Gita and others, but this sense organs will not allow, because constantly being carried away, dragged by all these things. So interest may be there, but no time for it. And it can wait. Those kinds of ideas come. And the pressure can be so much sometimes that even dharma, adharma clarity can be gone, can be stolen away. Harati. So prajna can be self-knowledge. Prajna can be knowledge of dharma and adharma also. Right and wrong. Correct? So, tasya prajnam harati. And he gives a nice example for that. The last quarter is Vayuhu Navam Iva Ambhasi. There are 4 words there. Vayuhu Navam Iva Ambhasi. Iva. Iva means like something. Like this example. What example? Vayuhu Navam Ambhasi. Ambhas. Ambhas means water. Water. Generally, water, the word water in Sanskrit appears in plural. So, jalam, water, etc. we say, but ambhas is waters. So, ambhasi, in the waters. In the waters of the river, in the waters of the ocean. Okay. And then what? Navam. Nava. Nava means a small boat. A boat. We have to assume it's not a big ship like a carrier ship and warship and this cruise ship and all that, very big. Did not think like that. I have a small boat. Nava. So the word navigation comes from that Nava. Nava root. Okay. What about that small boat in the waters? Vayuhu. What does Vayuhu, wind? What can wind do to that small boat? Well, we can imagine very well. The small boat is helpless in the presence of wind, and it shakes, it moves, it turns in the direction of the wind. So that is the example that Krishna uses to illustrate how the wind prevents the small boat from reaching its destination. Like that, these sense organs can take us for a ride. They say take you for a ride. Now I want to know what is the origin of that also. Now we take all these phrases for granted. And I like that phrase, taking something for a ride. He took you for a ride. Somebody called me yesterday and they're trying to paint the house. And 3 weeks ago, he brought the paint and then he kept, and then he started painting and then left it halfway through. And then now yesterday, he sent that person home to finish some remaining part. And all the money was paid. Then now he says, no, you pay all these laborers. I am not there right now. I'm very far away. I can't come home. And he said, wait a minute, I gave you all the money. Why should I pay this person again? The contract is done. And so he's taking, this is what it is, taking people for a ride. This happens all the time. That fellow was complaining to me. He says, my father is screaming at me. And what a fool you are, you gave all the money. This is what he says. So, this, just like the wind takes this small boat away from its destination, like that, the sense organs, the sense pursuits. So sometimes we say we don't blame the sense organs. Sense organs are there to help us. They do what they are supposed to do. But then the mind, that's why yan manaha anuvidhiyate. So that mind which follows the sense organs. So the mind has the ability to say, no, it's enough. I don't need this anymore. I'm done with it. The mind has that ability. So such a mind that is carried away by ragadveshas will not have time for this knowledge. And so what should we do? Well, you should, instead of focusing on all the things that the sense organs are pointing to, you focus on exactly the opposite. Focus on Atma. Which kind of Atma? Well, the Atma that was already taught to us. So this Ananda Swarupa Atma, this Sthanuhu Achalaha Atma, this Atma that can neither be cut by a sword, neither be wet by water, that Atma, that is the time, that is the thing to focus on now. And now on later also that Atma is going to be the same Satchidananda Atma. It's not going to change. And regardless of which book I read, that Atma is going to be the Satchidananda Atma only. And Swamiji says, it can never become Asatchidananda Atma. And that's how it was long ago. That's how it is now. That's how it will be later also. So that Atma, may I focus my attention on. So Ananda, hey, wait a minute. There are so many things to do and I become happy doing this thing and that thing. Well, yeah. But now having got exposed to this Bhagavad Gita, we know that Ananda is not coming from any object. It is not coming from any place that you visit. Therefore, where is it coming from? It has to be my nature. That idea I hold on to. Then I inquire. And the Shastram is pursued. So that's the implication here. So very important. This vision is so important. The more and more I think about it. Going after things versus recognizing that this is Ananda is right here and now. This is what prevented our Indians or India from occupying other lands. Every other part of the world you look, Europe, just keep exploring and they say pioneer and then occupy all other lands and label all as tribals and label all as backward, uncivilized, this and that. Why India did not do that? Why we could not do that? We had Chandragupta, we had so many people. Are we stupid or what? No human being or no civilization in this world is stupid. Everybody comes with some mind, some knowledge. No human being is more superior than other human being. So this vision is so important. Without this vision, you're only going to get carried away. This hunting for newer and newer things, dominating other people, this idea, this is what differentiates Sanatana Dharma from every other neo-religion. Please keep that in mind. So this whole labeling, pagan, devil worshipper, this and that, comes from lack of this vision. This vision is the brakes, is what puts the brakes in our pursuit. Think about it. It puts brakes in our otherwise just wild pursuit of things. So this is what struck me when I was thinking about this shloka. So that vision is what Krishna talks about here, which he will summarize in the next shloka. So let's go back to the shloka number 67. So the mind that follows yan manaha anuvidhiyate. Okay, the mind that follows, we are translating the shloka. The mind that follows what? The wandering senses, charatam indriyanam. Okay, the mind that follows the wandering senses. Indeed robs the person harati asya. Harati asya, robs the person of his knowledge. Asya prajnam, rob the person of his knowledge or her knowledge. Asya can be asyaha also, no problem. Okay, comma, just as iva, just as the wind, vayuhu, just as the wind carries away, carries away, carries away, the word is not there here, so you have to put that in brackets. Carries away a small boat, navam, on the waters, ambasi, on the waters, ambasi, just as the wind carries away a small boat on the waters. So it's just a peculiar way of saying vayur navam ivambasi. Just the imagery is presented, and you have to imagine the carried away part of it. Okay. So the mind that follows the wandering senses indeed robs the person of his knowledge, comma, just as the wind carries away a small boat on the waters. Nice imagery. So that idea I was thinking about, how India did not occupy any other country. I heard a statement some time ago by a Chinese person, like the Chinese ambassador to India, I think, some decades ago. He said, he quoted this. This was when our relations were much better. He said, India conquered China long ago without sending a single soldier. This is what he said. You can find out, you can Google and find out who said what, when, etc. And that, I think, is a true statement. So that speaks volumes about this vision, this culture. Without this vision, you can't. Because if you say I am heaven bound, then there are so many people who are heaven bound. Then you have to say, what will you say? You have to say you're going to the wrong heaven. Correct? My heaven is the right heaven. Then immediately there is going to be you, me, you, me, you, me. I am right, you're wrong. That's why this vision is so important. Okay. So now let's chant the next shloka, number 68. Okay. Who would like to do that? Anybody in a while? They've not done? Yeah. Sudha. Yeah, Bhagya, I'll pick you next. Yeah. Okay. Tasmadyasya Mahabaho Nigrihitani Sarvashah Indriyani Indriyarthebhyah Tasya Prajna Pratisthita Tasmadyasya Mahabaho Nigrihitani Sarvashah Indriyani Indriyarthebhyah Tasya Prajna Pratisthita. Yeah. So the shloka begins with the word tasmat. Tasmat. Tasmat means therefore. Therefore. So therefore means what? Therefore means a few things. What does it mean? Therefore means he has expected us to have understood what he has said before. Because of all these things I said so far, hey Arjuna, hey Mahabaho, okay. Therefore, this is the conclusion we are going to come to. That is the meaning. So that's why if you just enter a conversation that is going on and somebody says therefore, you can't make out therefore because you didn't hear all the previous discussion. So therefore, tasmat, and summing up that topic that was discussed so far, which of course is this topic of mastery of oneself, mastery of one's mind and sense pursuits, and addressing a person, because remember Arjuna's question, all this is answering Arjuna's question, okay. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. So who is a sthita prajna? Who is the one with well ascertained and well established knowledge, one who is crystal clear about this, unshakable knowledge. So therefore, talking about a person who has the knowledge and is in the process of firming it up. So that such a person is addressed in these shlokas, and who is making that effort. And so Krishna's caution applies to that person also who has the knowledge. So what to talk about the rest of us who are still beginning to appreciate this, right? So it becomes important. And so here Krishna addresses Arjuna as Mahabaho. Hey Mahabaho. Pratipadikam Mahabahu. Like Guru. Hey Guru. So hey Mahabaho. So Mahabaho. So mighty armed person. So you are the master of your domain. You are the greatest archer. You are the greatest. When it comes to war, Arjuna's side, people are thinking Arjuna. What a joy it is to watch Arjuna fight. So you are a Mahabaho. So you are a master at conquering all your enemies out there, all the external enemies. What about your mind? That is the implication here. Look at that. What about your mind? Have you thought about it? You're ambitious. You have a lot of ragadveshas. Fine. Are you in control of them, or have they seized you, hey Arjuna? That is the implication. Okay. So, hey Mahabaho, look at that. Look at how much our commentators talk about on these words. Then what? So, verse number 58, Yada Samharate Chayam. Okay. Samharate. So, from 58 onwards, he was talking about this mastery of one's sense pursuits, right? So, Yada Samharate Chayam, like the turtle, Kurmangani Vasarvashaha, ityadi. So, like the turtle is able to withdraw its limbs and head at will and release it at will. Like that, are you able to do, hey Arjuna, hey Mahabaho? That kind of control we must have on our sense organs and mind. Only then the mind is freed from the pressure of the ragadveshas, from the pressure of the sense, our likes and dislikes. And so we talked about this binding likes and dislikes. We're not talking about elimination of likes and dislikes. It's not possible. So whenever somebody talks about elimination, the person either does not know, or the person means elimination of binding desires. Means, we talked about this before, converting the binding desires to non-binding desires. So it's a lila, it's a glory. Likes and dislikes are a glory of the human being, and so let them be. And I am happy to follow what I like, but understand that whatever I like, whatever I pursue, I need not get. Therefore, that particular desire need not be fulfilled. We saw all that. So with that kind of a mindset, with that kind of an attitude, I pursue this knowledge, And the beauty of this pursuit is this. The more I study this Shastram, the more I am able to gain mastery over myself. And the more I gain mastery over myself, the clearer the Shastram becomes. And the clearer the Shastram becomes, the more control I have over myself. So this is a very, autocatalytic, very beautiful cycle that we are, none of us is perfect. And like that driving that we talked about, you have to drive in order to learn to drive, but you have to learn to drive in order to drive. So how do you do that? So that is why the external person is there sitting next to this driver, because that's the only way to break this vicious cycle. And so here the beauty is that each helps the other. Karma yoga attitude is there, and karma yoga attitude helps me appreciate what the Shastram says. And the more I appreciate the karma yoga, the attitude in me also becomes stronger, becomes well developed. Chitta Shuddhi keeps coming. Okay. So this is the Raga Dvesha psychology. Swamiji talks about Gita being the psychology of Raga Dveshas. And from the perspective of psychology, Swamiji makes a point to say that the Bhagavad Gita is complete. It covers that human psychology completely. And even by looking at just from the point of view of psychology, it is adequate, it's complete. Because it addresses that likes and dislikes, which is what leads us to disappointments, frustrations, depression, and phobia and mania. All these things comes from the Raga Dvesha, according to the Gita. That's the model the Bhagavad Gita uses. Therefore, as a psychologists can learn quite a bit from the Bhagavad Gita. And so you've got Karma Yoga on one hand, and you've got Jnana Yoga on the other hand. The attitude with which I view my actions and my results, that is Karma Yoga. Ishwararpana Buddhi, whatever I do, I follow Dharma, based on that I do. And I give to Ishvara, I give whatever I do. It's an offering, it's done. And then what about the results? Prasada Buddhi. So Prasada Buddhi and Ishwararpana Buddhi is Karma Yoga. That's the attitude. And then you've got knowledge. Parallelly, I am studying the Shastra. That knowledge is there. So Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, both are there. So like the bird requires 2 wings to fly, to take off. And it flies, and then the 2 wings are needed so it can glide. It can glide smoothly. By the same way, we need these 2 to glide into, Swamiji talks about gliding into knowledge, gliding into that sthita prajnatvam. Beautiful. And so that is the message here, where Krishna is concluding tasmat iti. So let's go back to the shloka here, translating the shloka. Tasmat, therefore, comma, Hey Mahabaho, O Arjuna, one with mighty arms, or O Arjuna, comma, the mighty armed. The knowledge of one tasya prajna, the knowledge of one whose senses are completely mastered, indriyani indriyatebhyaha nigrihitani. Look at that. So let's look at these words. Nigrihitani indriyani. So indriyani, sense organs, Nigrihitani, withdrawn, mastered. Literal meaning is withdrawn. The implied meaning is mastered. Withdrawn means I can operate them as and when I want, and I'm not going to be carried away by what the senses tell me. Okay, so indriyani nigrihitani, and withdrawing from what? Indriyarthebhyaha. Indriyarthebhyaha. So there also the indriya, the word indriya is there. So this word indriyartha always comes in the Bhagavad Gita. Indriyartha means, artha here is not security, artha here means object, a thing, a vishaya, thing. A thing that the indriyas pick up, report. Those are all things of this world. In other words, indriyartha means all things of this world, which can be perceived, inferred, etc., etc. So, indriyani, indriyarthebhyah nigrihitani. So, whose sense organs are completely withdrawn, means completely mastered. Sarvashaha, that completely comes from the word sarvashaha. Sarvashaha, completely. Leaving nothing out, completely. So, the knowledge of one whose senses are completely mastered from their respective objects, indriyarthebhyaha, right? From their respective objects, is well established, is steady, pratishtita. So looking at the whole sentence here, therefore, comma, Arjuna, comma, or within brackets Arjuna, comma, the mighty armed. Within brackets because the word Arjuna itself doesn't appear in the shloka. Okay. The knowledge of one whose senses are completely mastered. The knowledge of one whose senses are completely mastered from their respective sense objects is steady. Why respective sense objects? Because each sense organ has its own domain, has its own field, has its own field of operation. Kshetra. What the eyes can do, the ears cannot do. What the ears can do, the nose cannot do. What the nose can do, the tongue cannot do. What the tongue can do, the skin cannot do. Sense of touch cannot do. So that's why respectively. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the next shloka, number 69. Okay. Who would like to chant? Yeah, Bhagya. Right. Go ahead. Ya Nisha.
Ya Nisha.
Okay. So I'm hearing an echo or something like that.
I think
Ya
somebody
Nisha.
Ya Nisha.
Sarva Bhutanam.
Sarva Bhutanam.
Tasyam Jagarti.
Tasyam Jagarti.
Sanyami.
Sanyami.
Yasyam Jagrati.
Yasyam Jagrati.
Bhutani.
Bhutani.
Sa Nisha.
Sa Nisha.
Pashyato Munehe.
Pashyato Mune.
Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam.
Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam.
Tasyam Jagarti Samyami.
Tasyam Jagarti Sanyami.
So that word Sanyami, Samyami can be pronounced either way. So Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani.
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani.
Sa Nisha Pashyato Munehe.
Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting shloka in a particular way that we will appreciate shortly. Arjuna's question was, who is a Sthita Prajna? Okay. So what does it say? Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava stitati kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. Kim prabhasheta, what does this wise person say, speak? Kim asita, how does that person sit? And vrajeta, how does a person move about? And so it seemed to Krishna that Krishna did not want to answer this question literally, because the movement of a person may not change with knowledge. How the person sits may not change. Okay, the person may have done some meditation, so his sitting posture may have improved. All that may be there, but still, that's not the point here. And so Krishna answered the question, the spirit of Arjuna's question. We saw that. So what was, that was 54. Verse number 54 was the question. And then he answered things like Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha in number 55. One who is happy being oneself. Like that he said. One who gives up binding desires will be happy with oneself. That was being said. And then last shloka he summed up. Tasmad, etc. he said. But then here, Swamiji says, perhaps Krishna was not happy with the answer yet. Why? How can Krishna not be happy with these answers? This is a bit strange. And so he says, one who is happy being oneself. Even a madman can be happy being oneself. And he's always laughing also. So he definitely looks happy. And being oneself only, he's smiling. He doesn't need anything else to smile. And he's just saying, ha 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 ha. So he seems quite happy. So these possibilities are there. So we don't know what Arjuna is thinking, what Arjuna got from that shloka. He did not have the benefit of the explanation that we are having. And so these kinds of problems may be there. And secondly, to know whether a person is wise. So somebody asked a question in satsang, right, the other day. So was that person a sannyasi? Is that person a jnani? Okay, this question is there. How do you know if a person is has this knowledge or not? How do you know it? Well, so here's a question to you. The question to you is, there is a blind person. How does that blind person know? And you are in front of him. You can see, your eyes are operating. How does the blind person know that you are able to see? How? You can't know. Can't know, really can't know. How do you explain to the blind person what it means to have eyesight? You didn't think about that problem. I mean, we have to say we are so blessed when you think about these things. And you can't even explain to the person. How do you tell that person? What does it mean to have eyesight? And you can see this, you can see that. There are colors. There are so many different colors. The apple you are holding in your hand is red. And the tree is green in color. And you can't even use the language because the person doesn't know what green is. The person doesn't know what red is. And the person picks up these things as they hear, and then they start using those words, but really without seeing, they use the words, correct? So that's the dilemma here. And so we are asking the question, how can an ignorant person know about the knowledgeable person? It's not possible. Difficult. At least we can say it's difficult. That is the spirit of this shloka. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. That is the spirit. So I hope you understood the spirit of the shloka. At least we will explain it. Saying that this ignorant person cannot know, cannot really appreciate the wise person. That is the That is the purport of this shloka. Okay. So, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutana. Okay. So that first line, Nisha means night. Okay. Sarva Bhutana. Sarva Bhutana here means for all people. For all people, that which is night. That which is night. Okay. Tasyam Jagarti Sanyami. In that state, which all people see as night, in that state, the Sanyami, who is a Sanyami? Sanyami means the person who, of course, has mastery over himself, herself, and who also has the knowledge of Atma. Okay. Sanyami Jagarti. That person is awake. So that which is night for everybody, in that state, Tasyam Sanyami Jagarti. The wise person is awake. Okay. What is this explanation? What is this statement? So that means what? So night. So that means the wise person is nocturnal or what? Because he's awake to this night, that which is night to everybody. No, that's not the idea here. So here the vision of this Shastram is talked about. That non-dual vision, the vision of non-duality, the Advaita, Drishti. So that which is night for everybody means what? That in which the people are not awake to. The people are sleeping to, asleep to. That vision is Atma is Satchidananda. That vision is not there. Sarva Bhutanam. Okay. So to that vision, which is night for all people, this person, the Sanyami, is awake to. Correct? I think you got it now, right? So just talking about, one is ignorant of that vision and the other has that knowledge. Okay. So that ignorance is referred to here by the word Nisha. Nisha. And Shankaracharya says Avidya Nidra. Avidya Nidra. He uses that word. And so the sleep of ignorance. And he also gives the example of this dream. See, a person is totally awake, like we are all awake right now. Totally awake is one situation. Completely asleep, deep sleep, okay, Sushupti, that is another situation. In both these situations, one is either completely awake or completely asleep. In between, you have a dream state. Okay. When completely asleep or completely awake, there is no problem. In the sense, in the relative world, there is no problem. We do things that we are supposed to do, etc. Completely awake, asleep also no problem. Dream state is where the problem is there. It is neither completely awake nor completely asleep. So that is where there is a huge projection going on. And then you wake up and say, oh my God, thank God it was a dream. Correct? Thank God it was a dream. And very few people say I had a good dream and all that. At least I'm nobody has told me I've got a great dream last night. Thank you for wishing me sweet dreams. I did have a sweet dream. Like that, nobody said, So there in that dream, it's all based on memories and past thoughts. The person is not identified with this physical body. There is a new body in the dream that dreamer takes on, and a new world that is being projected. And so that dream is not real. And why do we say the dream is not real? Why do we bring that example here? We bring that example because it is possible. Every day we have that experience. And we say, yeah, that is not real. But that is not real means that why you have to wake up in order to say that is not real. In dream, I can't say, I wish I could tell that in the dream itself. When the dog is chasing me, I wish I could tell myself, come on, this is a dream, sweet dreams and nothing. How can the dream dog bite the dream person, dream you? Like that, I wish I could tell myself, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to happen. And that's why I wake up sweating, So that seems to be our experience. So this reality. What is the reality in the dream? There is a knower. There are objects. I project the entire world in my dream. Okay, world of objects. Whatever I know, I project there, depending on the dream. And so there are objects there. I am there, of course, because I am watching the dream, and I am a central character in the dream. Even though the scene that I am dreaming, I may not really be there in that scene. Okay, it could be something that was imagined, and so I may or may not be there in that particular scene. But there are objects, there are scenes. There is the dreamer. The knower is there. The known object is there. And the entire dream is moving. That knowledge of the entire dream is going on. So this is the Triputi. Triputi means that division, that duality. That duality that is there in the dream we can appreciate when we wake up. When we wake up. What happens when we wake up? That was a dream, I just say and I walk away. I don't think about it. But for Vedantins, these things are very important. This analysis, this dream example is so important for us. That world that was created that you thought was real, where did that disappear? Where did that go? Well, it resolved into me. It resolved into me because everything came out of me. That world came out of me. That dream experience came out of me. The dreamer, was the dreamer you or not? No, the dreamer must be me, because I say I dreamt. I don't say he dreamt in my dream. That I don't say. So my wife dreamt for me. Nobody says that. However close the husband and wife are, they don't say the statement, she dreamt for me, I dreamt for her. This is not possible. She was there in my dream, I can say, but so the dreamer is me only. The waker now was the dreamer. So the entire dreamer, the dream experience, the dream objects, all of that resolved into the waker, me, right now. Resolved. Resolved means what? It doesn't exist anymore. It's not manifest. And then later on, it will get manifest. In the night, once again, it will get manifest. So the knower is the waker. And that same knower was the dreamer. Okay. So we are analyzing the duality. Okay. We are analyzing the reality of the duality. How real it is. So in dream, of course, the duality is there, but you can wake up and say it was not real. Then Yajnavalkya asks this question. Janaka asked this question to Yajnavalkya. He asked the question, okay, the dream I say is not real. What about the waking? Is that real or what? What is the basis on which I say the waking is real and the dream is not real? Which one is more real? Like this question he asked Yajnavalkya. And seriously, and so Janaka, that's why Krishna quotes Janaka also, Janakadayaha. So Janaka is known to have not to have, not to be a wise person. And so that analysis is there in one of the Upanishads. So we will have to continue analyzing this duality, and we take the duality as real, and that same duality occurs in the waking world also. Of course, when we are awake, we see multiplicity, we see things, we see you, me, we see that, this, and there are so many things in this world, and I am separate from everything. This is the idea we grow up with. There's no choice. Duality is our vision. So we will, and of course the Vedas addresses that person, and addresses that person's purusharthas, dharma, artha and kama. That's how life starts, and Veda also goes along with us. Even though the Veda is going to talk about, hey, this vision is wrong, your idea of the world is wrong, you have misunderstood the world. It's going to say, even though it's going to say that, it's going to go along with us. Okay, artha, yes, sure. Follow dharma and seek artha, etc. It's going to go along with us. And so we will continue that discussion. I think time's up here. So we are getting into the shloka, which is a way of Krishna telling Arjuna that, really speaking, one who does not know the reality cannot fully appreciate a wise person. Like that he's going to talk about. Okay, so we will stop here today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.